Hello 8th graders. In this IXL support video we're taking a look at assignment F.14, which is called Identify Equivalent Expressions Involving Exponents, Part 2. And the first thing I'm going to say is F.14 is challenging. It puts together all our skills, but they make it as difficult as they can, and that's why they call it Part 2. So if you're on F.14, congratulations for making it here. This is going pretty in-depth, so I'm going to go through these as well as I can. But please also feel free to reach out to me and we can work one-on-one as they keep changing how it's difficult throughout this assignment. Alright, here's the first one, and we're going to show just a few examples to show F14 and what they're after. First thing I see as I'm reading this question, it says select all the expressions that are equivalent to 12 to the negative third raised to the ninth power. So I'm going to first put a red box around that select all. That's important. And I see these blue check marks are telling me there could be more than one right answer. That's one layer of difficulty. Now, I need to simplify 12 to the negative third raised to the ninth power. And I know if I do an exponent to an exponent, I can just simply do the two exponents multiplied together. So negative 3 times 9 makes negative 27. And that tells me when I simplify this expression here, my answer is going to be 12 to the power of negative 27. And I see right here, right away, 12 to the power of negative 27. But when it's a multi-select or a select-all type question, I need to be careful. I need to think, are there other answers that are correct? Here are some that are not correct. There is no way, I'm sorry that scrolled down a bit, there is no way that the third answer, 1 over 12 to the 6th, is going to be correct. So I'm going to put an X through that. 12 to the 6th power dividing by 12 to the 6th is nothing like dividing by 12 27 times. And similarly, 12 to the negative 27th is not the same thing as 1 divided by 12 to the negative 27th. This actually says 12 to the positive 27th when we simplify. But it is the same thing as saying 1 divided by 27 copies of 12. That's what this negative exponent means. So in this case, I needed two answers, the one with the negative exponent and the conversion to the positive exponent form. Here, it looks like they're building on the same skill. I would encourage you, if you're watching the video, to pause, think through this one on your own. And as you're coming back with me, hopefully with an answer now, I'll show you what I would do. I see same exponent to exponent rule, so I'm going to do 6 multiplied with negative 4, which is going to give us negative 24 for the exponent. I'm going to write that in as my answer here. I know I've got 11 to the power of negative 24 when I simplify this or do the math. And I also know negative exponents are the same thing as dividing by their positive self. So I'm going to convert this right now. And I see the two answers that match up with this here. This is a very similar problem to our first one. Or 11 to the negative 24th, or 1 over 11 to the 24th. Now they continue to be really, really mean with us here. One thing they're doing here, a couple ways to think about this. You could do how 10 squared is 10, 5 squared is 25. Let's show that in purple. So we could just do 100 divided by 25. That's one way to do this. 10 squared is 100, 5 squared is 25. 100 over 25, 4 quarters make up $1. And lo and behold, the only one that says the same thing as 4, or 4 over 1, is this one here, 2 squared. Now another way I could have done this, I think IXL was actually hoping that you would see 10 squared is the same thing as 5 squared times 2 squared. And they were kind of hoping you would see this. I should have switched colors, but they were hoping you know that 10 squared is the same thing as 5 times 2, both being squared, because 5 times 2 is 10. And then the 5 squareds would cancel each other out, and all that would be left is 2 squared, which equals 4. So that's another way to think about how this is the right answer. 4 is not the same thing as 1, so 2 to the 0 is out. 4 is not the same thing as 2. And 1 over 2 squared means 1 over 4, which is definitely not the same thing as 4 over 1. That one's also going to be wrong. This is our only correct answer. Next one, I'm going to ask you again. Pause the video if you're watching with us. Try to think through this yourself before I show it. But here we see the same base divided, so I'm going to just be following my division rule. Same base, I take the top exponent and I subtract the bottom exponent. Negative 18 minus 2 gives me negative 20. So I know that this is the same thing as 7 to the power negative 20. And as I look through some of the answers here, I see two options that are the same thing as that. I see 7 to the negative 20th. And I also know this means divide by 7 20 times. And that's what this guy says right here. The other two don't even have the right exponent. They're trying to mess with you if you do 18 divided by 2. Or if you do negative 18 plus 2, you might get negative 16. But they're messing with you on these two. They're distractors. There's our correct two answers. Now, I'm not going to keep going because all of F14 is difficult. They throw challenges at you from the very beginning, and all 4 of those ones I showed you were really challenge-level problems. What I'm going to encourage you is if you're on F14 and you get frustrated, I think you should send me an email, and I'm happy to talk through some of these problems with you. And my email address is ddoherty3, as always, at bostonpublicschools.org. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. Thank you for your perseverance. F14 is a challenging assignment, but it does combine skills we know, and we think it's great practice for those of you who are getting here. Have a great day. Thank you again for the hard work.